things look better in the light, don't they? But why is shadow important? First of all, light is what casts shadow. Shadow actually responds to light. So they are interwoven, not meant to be separated, not meant to be ignored. Neither are meant to be ignored. In empath energetics, we do a shadow month before we do a light month. And this is not because shadow needs to be dealt with first, but rather because it is easier than dealing with the light. As it relates to struggling and finding what is holding you back. So at play in all of us, there are these different figures or archetypes, and you can find this in psychology, and you can also find this in literature in all different types of story characters that we use. You can find it in media. There's certain types and certain roles that we all play. I like to think we have some of everything within us. If we are part of the universe, if you understand this idea that everything is interconnected, all that my body is on a physical level is energy, just a bunch of cells vibrating and energizing and sticking next to each other in the form of Kate and, in the form of you for yourself. So if you are matter and energy, you are also that same matter and energy that makes up this entire universe. So that's where that, idea connects. But if you have these archetypes all within you, and yet you deny that as truth, they can wreak a lot of havoc. So I find when we're aware of how they're showing up, it's a lot easier for us to acknowledge them, befriend them, banish them if they really are doing no good, or perhaps see what they're looking to tell you. So for example, if you have a victim mindset and you think a lot of things happen to you and at you, and a lot of things maybe stand in your way, and you're constantly being held back by others or circumstance, and you are adopting a victim mindset. A victim archetype is sort of playing in your awareness. But what is the light side of a victim? I think people who have been victims before are really good at spotting when other people are victims. And so people who have had a victim mindset or who have been victims have such an easier time than seeing who is being victimized and actually preventing those people from being victimized. They end up helping a lot of people. That's actually sometimes what causes the victim mindset. I know when I deal with empaths, a lot of the time, victim mindset comes from over caring and feeling like, why won't anyone protect me? So it makes a lot of sense, right? You over care, you give, and you want that same thing back. You end up in victim mindset. So this victim mindset is really helping you to see how you care, what you are good at caring about. And if you can simply make friends with the idea that that victim is really saying, I'm needing someone to care about me in that scenario, right? Let me know if you have a different scenario that it's showing up in, and I'll let you know what I think it might be pointing you to, if I can discern that from, a message. But when we notice that, we're actually really empowered by it and actually strengthened by it. Had you never had that victim mindset, you perhaps wouldn't question, and you would perhaps continue being victimized. So even seeing things from that perspective allows you to then flip the perspective. So shadows are really good for that. But without them being addressed, they can be really naggy. You can kind of, self-sabotage just by leaving shadows unattended. I think vague shadows are pretty destructive, actually, because they're sort of going unwatched, and the problem mounts and mounts and mounts. So I liken it to monsters under the bed. When you have monsters under your bed as a kid, and that's your reality, that's true in that moment. And I'm not arguing if there were monsters under your bed. I'm not arguing. I'm sure there were, but often what we would find is that an adult comes into our room and then, maybe looks under the bed, looks in the closet, there's nothing there, and sort of dispels the worry, for most of us. I think if you're committed to your beliefs, maybe that didn't help because it invalidates what you're seeing. But anyway, the self-sabotage and these shadows are much like this monsters in the bed. It gets scarier and scarier and scarier the more you actually avoid looking at it, the more you avoid it. And then if you go face it yourself, you've had to pluck some sort of bravery or courage even to face it. So if you have fear, if you're currently coming up against things and you're feeling stuck, you're feeling like you can't make any traction, pay attention to what those shadows are lingering vaguely behind the surface. I know when we do empath energetics shadow sessions, it's always like mind blowing how deep they end up getting, how much ends up coming out of it, and how it ends up showing up in our lives to sort of give us a playground to say, oh, this is what it meant. This is actually how it's showing up. And as soon as we face that shadow, we then also can turn ourselves to the light. So I think you have to face things head on. I often say the only way out of feelings is through them. So if you are needing some support with how to help dispel that inner saboteur or the victim or there's like chaotic destroyers inside of us. There's so many there, when I use these archetype cards, there's, I think over 70 for sure in that deck. And so lots of different ways that you individually express your own shadow. It's not going to be the same as anyone else's because you've lived your own life. So if you want some help with that, drop me a line in the comments or reach out to me in a message. I'm here to help. And if you know that you have some shadow stuff that is coming up that you just feel like, I want this done with, I want to face this, I want to look right into the light. I want to, meet my shadow and see what the strength part of it is, see what it's actually there for, what the use of it is. Then come join us in Empath Energetics. We've got a few people already signed up. I'm really excited for this next round because it feels potent, lined up. I'm able to take in more people in this round than I have in the past. I've kept it very limited, under 5 people in the past, and I'm open to more than 5 people this round. So please drop me a line if you're interested in getting through this shadow stuff. And let me know if you resonate with this idea of vague shadows or monsters under the bed or any of the things I talked about in this video. Take care, everyone.